As you gather your W-2s and tax documents this January, you might be thinking about your 2024 tax return. But there's a bigger story looming. This is the last year of normal tax returns for what's left of the middle class. Starting in 2026, when you file taxes for 2025, your bill is going to spike. And that's by design, carefully written into the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017. Remember that law? It was the only major legislation passed during Trump's first term, sold as an economic boost for all Americans. But following the money tells a different story. Your tax cut? Temporary. The billionaires' tax cuts? Those are forever. Here's what it means for your family. If you're earning $75,000 a year, you probably have been seeing an extra $100 in your monthly paycheck since 2018. That's barely enough to cover the increase in your grocery bill. Not exactly living large, are you? And you know what? You shouldn't feel bad about paying your fair share. Those taxes build our roads and fund our schools and keep our communities safe. But while you're organizing your tax documents this spring, remember, every paycheck you earn in 2025 is counting down to a tax hike. Meanwhile, if you're a billionaire sitting on more money than your family could spend in 100 generations, you probably are meeting with your accountants right now to celebrate another year of permanent gifts, like paying just 21% on your corporate profits instead of 35%. To put that in perspective, a family earning $75,000 pays about 22% in total taxes. A corporation earning millions, they're paying less than you, while relying on the very infrastructure your taxes built. Think you're comfortably middle class? Let's look at the math. The law hits especially hard in states with high living costs. Take New Jersey, where a teacher making $85,000 a year pays $15,000 just in property taxes, money that funds the schools and roads and emergency services that both families and corporations rely on. Before 2017, they could deduct all of that. Now, they're limited to $10,000. That's an extra $5,000 of income they're being taxed on, money that's already gone to maintain the very infrastructure that corporations use while dodging their fair share. But as teachers prepare their 2024 taxes this spring, they're facing the reality that next year will be even worse. One medical emergency, one layoff, one tax hike. That's all it takes to knock a middle-class family into freefall. The math is simple but stark. A billionaire's corporation banks hundreds of millions in permanent savings each year, money wrested from the workers who actually created that wealth. Your modest tax break, in 11 months, it starts disappearing, just as inflation and living costs keep climbing. This isn't trickle-down economics, it's vacuum-up economics, pulling money from working families into offshore accounts and corporate boardrooms. Corporations collect billions in tax breaks, welfare by another name, and we call it smart business. But when their tax policies force working families into food stamps or Medicaid, suddenly dependency is a moral failing. While you're one missed paycheck away from being labeled a taker, they're hoarding wealth they couldn't spend in 100 lifetimes, wealth created by workers who can barely afford to fix their own cars. But we're not powerless. As you file your 2024 tax return this spring, remember, this is the moment to act. Contact your representatives now before these changes become locked in. Demand they not only restore corporate tax rates, but close the loopholes that let billion-dollar companies pay less tax than you do on your overtime pay. Because right now, they're not even paying that reduced 21% rate. They're using their armies of accountants to pay nothing at all, while their workers choose between rent and groceries. Wake up your neighbors to the tax time bomb in their mailbox. Come April 2026, they're going to get the shock of their lives. Get this story into what remains of our local newspapers, neighborhood forums, community meetings, anywhere people gather to talk about their financial fears. Make noise about this before it's too late. The question isn't just who benefits from these policies, it's what are we going to do about it? Because while billionaires celebrate their permanent tax cuts, your clock is ticking. Every paycheck you earn after January 1st, 2025 will be marching toward a higher tax bill, inexorably pushing you closer to choosing between medication and mortgage payments. Unless we act now. This is Chris, the amateur ethicist. Thanks for watching.